CEO Alan Garrison. How are you doing on this wintry day, Alan?
Sarah, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Looks like winter has pointed its steely finger at Austin one more time.
Yeah, definitely has. It's very cold.
It's the last one, though. We're almost there. Hang in there.
Exactly. So since financing is such a great way for both large and small businesses to invest in capital while managing cash flow and the also important company balance sheet, we just wanted to chat today a little bit about how to identify the financing package that is right for you. So, Alan, do you want to kick us off by telling us about the different types of loans that are available to different businesses?
Oh my gosh. And I'm glad you gave me a heads up before we started because there are as many different ways to get loans and there are as many different loans as there are different kinds of companies. If we start at the very start when somebody wants to start a company and they need cash, well, they can get a startup loan. And the startup loan usually doesn't come from a bank. It usually comes from investors, private equity. They can be rather expensive because they're rather risky, and they may either be debt you have to pay back, or the investor will want a piece of the business, be a part owner or something like that. And another kind is a franchise loan. So if someone wanted to open a McDonald's, a national franchise chain, those loans are usually provided by banks because these well-known franchises are a lot less risky than Sarah and Alan's snow cone and bikini shop, right? So a bank will do that, and that's called a franchise loan. And third, but most commonly used, is a SBA loan, a small business loan. A lot of companies do that when they're starting, and even a few years into it as they start growing. They'll go to a bank and get an SBA loan backed by the government. They're usually collateralized with personal homes, personal cars, all the assets of the company, so they can be very, very much involved. But those rates, they're 6 to 10%, pretty good rates, because they're not as risky because they're backed by the government. A lot of companies need short-term capital, just to pay monthly debt or monthly bills, and you can borrow against your accounts receivable, and you can borrow against your inventory, or if you take credit cards, companies will actually accept the credit card payment, take a little piece of it, and pay you the rest, and lend you some money on your receivables that way. And that way, you're not waiting for people to pay you. You have cash in the bank, and you can pay your bills. Another way, I have to write these down. A business line of credit from the bank. A lot of companies will go get a line of credit from their bank. They usually want to, get a lien on all of your assets just in case. Those are usually pretty good rates, those 6 to 10%. A more severe, a bigger scale would be an asset-based lending relationship with a bank, where they're your banker. They have a lien on your accounts receivable, all your bank statements, all your cash, and they're lending you money every month for you to pay your bills. And then when your customers pay you, I'm sure you've noticed this, sometimes when you pay a bill, you send a check to a P.O. box. Well, that P.O. box is actually the bank. And so when they get it, they use that money to repay the loan. You actually never, ever see it. You're just borrowing money from the bank and drawing it down as you need it throughout the month. Most often, when companies have been around for a while and they need to expand, they need equipment finance loans. They're going out and getting money, usually from a third party, to finance their equipment. And last, they're their construction loans and specialized loans like business acquisition loans and stuff like that. So there are a gazillion types of loans and lots of ways to get money.
It sounds like it. So you seemed to perk up a little bit when you mentioned equipment financing. That's the type of lending that FX Financial does, right?
Absolutely. And if I didn't perk up, I should have. Because equipment finance loans are for companies that are expanding their businesses or expanding their services to their customers by buying more equipment. And it can be equipment to make their product. If you're a cabinet maker, you need more saws or something like that. Or if you're a production company and you need more stage lighting so you can offer more services to your customers, you go out to FX Financial or another third-party lender and arrange financing for your equipment that way.
So, are there different types of loans with equipment financing?
Yeah, there are divisions of loans underneath equipment financing. One is one we've all heard of, leases. You can do a lease to get equipment. Um, some of them are like when you and I lease a car. You know, we lease it for 3 years, and then we can decide to buy it or trade it in for a newer car, something like that. More typically, a lease for an equipment leasing in our industry is a lease to own or a capital lease, and that means that at the end of the lease term, 2, 3, 4, or 5 years, title automatically transfers to the customer. So in that regard, a lease is more like just a straight loan. And some people don't like leases, and so they will just ask for an equipment finance agreement, just a loan, and we do those as well. And the third hybrid is a lease with a little balloon payment on the back end. Like a lease, at the end of the lease, you pay 10% of the original cost to own the equipment. Some accountants like those for accounting reasons, and while we don't give advice, if a customer asks for that, we can do that for them too. So there are leases, straight leases like car leases, which we don't see a lot of, and I don't like to do. Equipment finance agreements, which I like a lot because this is a revenue-generating equipment for our customers. So the shorter path to ownership, the better. Or the hybrid, a lease with a balloon payment on the back, and I do those sometimes when a customer makes a request.
So, what would your recommendation be for customers that need finance equipment technology?
Yeah, well, obviously, for selfish reasons, I lean towards equipment financing because that's what we do. But I always tell customers to steer away from using their lines of credit or their loans or their accounts receivable loans to pay for equipment because those funds should be used for the fixed costs of the company to come up month after month after month after month. Rent, electricity. Save those loans for your day-to-day operations, and come to an equipment lease company like FX Financial. And remember, especially in the entertainment technology arena, which we operate in, most of the people want to own the equipment. And make sure that either if you go with an equipment finance agreement, that at the end of the term you own it, or if you're going to go with a lease, make sure it's not a lease where you don't own the equipment on the back end of it, or there's no clear path to ownership like a balloon payment. So steer away from the leases that say at the end of the lease pay fair market value or something spooky like that. Always go with an equipment finance agreement or a lease where you own it at the end. That would be that's my advice always to my customers.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, Alan. If you're a vendor looking to acquire entertainment technology for your next job, please reach out to Alan by emailing him at fx-financial, A. Garrettson at fx-financial.com. Alan, do you have anything to add?
No, and if they didn't get that email address, they can call me at 512-481-0227.
Well, thanks so much, Alan. Tune in next time for FX Financial on Air.
Thanks, Sarah.
Bye.